When a strange creature crawls into a woman's uterus, she becomes a killer in order to feed the tiny terror growing within her. This week, we watched 1990s French horror classic, Baby Blood.
It's time to feed the baby.
That was interesting because it sounded like a wet diaper.
Stabby Stabby.
Hi, welcome to Stabby Stabby. I am one of your hosts, Eric. I am just drinking some water today. I'm just hydrating, recovering from my weekend. And I'm extremely excited to talk about Baby Blood today.
Nice.
Fellas, how you doing?
Well, I am drinking a 10 Benz beer, Hovered Ridge Double IPA out of Vermont. Another beer that was left at my house. So trying to get through, month-old IPAs. So doing that. How about you, Dan? What you drinking tonight?
I'm doing well. I know we're fresh off that horror marathon you just hosted, and last I saw, you had like a cooler full of beers. So just invite me over. I'll help you drink those.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm doing very well. Today I'm drinking I'm kind of joining Eric. I'm gonna go a little bit lighter. I'm drinking a kombucha. It's a hard kombucha, so it's 6% alcohol, and I added a shot of spicy gin to it just to
I knew
just
you
to mix
would.
it up, guys. I'm so excited for tonight's conversation. I've got this thing welling up inside of me that I've been wanting to get out.
This will be the time to do it.
Yeah.
Now we are drinking wrong because we should just be drinking just cups of blood.
Well, how about a Bloody
Right.
Mary? Why don't we do like a cutesy alternative to the literal blood? Yeah.
Yeah, but like instead of tomato, it's human blood.
Literal blood, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was great. When did this was not any of our first times watching Baby Blood, right? We've all seen this.
Yes. Yeah.
I had actually shown it at a marathon. I think it might have been the first or second one. Yeah. But it was introduced to me from Eric, so I don't want to take credit for it.
Yeah, so this was one of my picks. Yeah, I think I had brought it to one of our early marathons. I bought it on DVD in like 2016 or something like that. I had heard about it on Letterboxd from a reviewer. She's no longer on there, unfortunately. I don't know. She moved off the platform, but her name was Holly Horror, and she was raving about this movie. It was on one of her like top 5 lists, and I read the description and was like, "Yep, this is going to be the next movie I watch." And I think I just blind bought it right off of Amazon, and it's awesome, and it still holds up. Kino Lorber released it on Blue, and it's gorgeous. So I'm sure we'll get into the details, but yeah, just randomly found it online, and it's a beautiful thing.
The transfer is beautiful. I think the first time, did we watch this every time on Blu-ray? I think this is the third time I've seen it, and it just seems like the best that I'd seen of it. I watched it with the English dubs, and I thought the dubbing job was actually really good. It was really well done. I thought the actors did an okay job. So good job, English dubbers. Although there was a random scene in there that had the original voice track still in it, and I forgot how amazing the baby's voice sounded. So I was glad to get reminded of that.
So our dubbed baby voice, the English version, is Gary Oldman. No shit.
Wait, what? Are you serious?
Yes. No, I'm dead serious. Yeah, it's Gary Oldman. Like a year or two, it might have been a year right before he did Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula.
No shit.
Pretty wild. Yeah.
I think I've heard that before, and I just thought it was a joke.
I thought it was bullshit, too. I was just like, that can't be right. But it was on the Wikipedia page. It was on the IMDb page. I listened to the commentary with 2 film historians, and they also mentioned it. So I was like, all right, we've got 3 confirmed sources here. So I'm assuming it's true. And you can kind of like make it out, I guess, as Gary's voice, if you think about it that way. So I'm gonna roll with it. I'm gonna say it's real.
Well, why don't we hop into talking about the movie, and our listeners can come along on a trip and hear about Gary Oldman's best movie. Right, guys?
Yeah. Great. Get this plot inside of us.
Now let's get to the plot.
So 1990s Baby Blood, directed by Alain Robak, which I hope I pronounced that correct. It begins with an intro about the beginning of the Earth with a lot of shots of volcanoes and lava. It talks about different life forms reproducing and growing, and this is all, we assume is spoken by the monster of the movie about how, it needs to be born to kind of come into the world. Don't know really how all that works, but we then cut to the title screen and the opening credits, so we do get kind of an explainer at the beginning of the movie, which actually was pretty cool.
I loved it. I think only this filmmaker and like Terrence Malick have the balls to start their films at the beginning of creation. Like it's the daddy of all flashbacks is like isn't a line in this something like time started so that I would be born?
And all those life forms started to reproduce. All but one. Me. For me, only one thing was needed. To be born.
Yeah, it's badass.
Yeah, it's like something about the bogs in Africa, like starting the first life forms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's great. I love the Terrence Malick. Yeah. We should have gotten like a 20-minute like dinosaur sequence and zoomed in all over the Earth. And
yeah, the only good part in Tree of Life.
No, I love Tree Life. I was about to say I could take an 8-minute long steady cam shot of Brad Pitt sniffing a dandelion. Why not? Right after the ambulance chase sequence, I'm in.
All right. Well, speaking of Africa, our movie then kicks off in Central Africa on May 13th. No years given. So we see a small African village, and they have something in a crate that they ultimately end up selling to some white man. And then we see the journey of that crate from that small village over to France on June 21st, and it arrives at a circus. And at the circus, we're introduced to Yanka, who is our main character. She works for the circus, not really sure doing what per se, and her, I assume, husband, who, again, assuming is the circus owner. And we also meet an animal seller who ends up peeping at Yanka as she's getting dressed in her trailer. And the animal that's brought by kind of the Peepin' Tom animal seller turns out to be a leopard. And as they show the leopard, we see that it is not happy. It is trying to attack everybody from inside of its cage.
It gave me like kind of Mystics in Bali vibes, some of these earlier shots with like the panther, and I think a couple of people that are near the panther complain about like not feeling right. Something feels off, like it's angry about something. And I think somebody else mentions that the panther killed its last few like cage mates or something. So you knew that there was something like bleak and magical going on with it.
And like all the other animals are reacting negatively to it as well.
Right.
Like the lions are getting kind of antsy and everything.
yeah, dogs really barking. The transit, the whole like African village to the boat to the zoo, or I'm sorry, to the circus reminded me very much of like Brain Dead, the Dead Alive.
Yeah.
It was like sort of that whole setup. And the leopard sort of reminded, we're going to get to it, was very Thing-ish, you know, when the husky.
Oh yeah,
shows up to the camp.
What a fun like setup to be paid off at the end of the movie too. What happens to that panther? Oh, it's great.
Now, was it a panther or a leopard?
Leopard. It was leopard. I'm so sorry.
Just making sure. I don't know my animals well. At first I wrote down cheetah because they all look the same to me.
It's
They're all the same.
Speckle Kitty. He's only in the movie for like 1 more minute. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So later that night, the first night that the leopard gets there, Yanka goes. We actually get a view of the circus tiger rehearsal, where like the ringmasters making the tigers do tricks and everything. And Yanka's husband basically violently forces her into the kind of the circus ring with the tigers, who they don't seem to be behaving normally, just like the lions earlier. Yanka is holding up like a flaming stick for them to jump over. She almost gets hurt. And she ends up running out of the circle and ends up hooking up with the leopard seller for no reason. Not really sure why.
I think she was desperate for like a man to save her from the circus. I think she threw, because when she threw herself at him, she whispered in his ear like, "Help me," as she was kind of ravaging him with attention. So, because the dude that you were right. I think she was like with the circus manager. It wasn't like the ringleader. It was, and he was terrible. He was like super abusive and beat the shit out of her and stuff. So I think she needed help. She needed a rescue.
Yeah, he was like locking her in the trailer, and the dude was peeping on. She was like an animal, just like all the other. The guy was like peeping in on her, and I think her job was to assist the lion tamer guy, like just to be hot and hold flames.
Which it's so crazy that the lion tamer's like, "Oh no, something's really bothering these lions and it's a bit dangerous. Real quick, let's do our fire tricks and then we'll call it a night."
Yeah, just pop in here and no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did listen to the commentary with two like film historians, and they mentioned that she spent 10 days to develop a rapport with the animals. So that's like that's her in the cage, which is pretty freaking nuts. Like, you're not going to find
that's really
that.
impressive.
Yeah, you're not going to find, at least I don't think, like an actress that's going to be like, "Yeah, let me pop in a cage with these 4 massive tigers that could maul me to death,"
Yeah, Life of Pi, they had to CG that tiger the whole time.
Yeah, that's right.
Come on, Life of Pi.
Yeah.
What a wimp.
Could have been in a boat for 30 days with a tiger. What's a big deal?
Yeah.
Pretty cool setup. And also, it also sets up the circus scenes were shot really well. Every scene in this movie is shot really well. Like when she runs out of the big top tent after the rehearsal kind of goes wrong, there's a couple of really cool shots with like these really extreme converging lines, and like certain windows and doorways are illuminated. It was really pretty to look at. That I forgot how good looking this movie was, and the color palette, it's like pale yellows and rich reds. It's really nice. I like it a lot.
Yeah. And after while she's hooking up with the leopard seller, her husband ends up catching her and slaps her incredibly hard and violently. And then we cut to that night, and Yanka is sleeping, and her husband finds the new leopard now dead, but not just dead, but kind of completely exploded from the inside.
Yeah, it looked like a floppy, noodly like leopard suit. Like you could put it on and wear it around.
Yeah, like the bear in Hereditary.
That's right.
No, in Midsummer. Yeah,
Midsummer. Yeah, you could zip it up and light yourself on fire.
Yeah.
I like to think that the leopard was shy at his new cage and just didn't want to fart. Just finally popped that night.
Yeah,
couldn't
felt
take
like
it anymore.
a new marriage.
Be great at the end of the movie, you just find out like all the deaths. You're like, oh, it actually wasn't necessary. She just really had to fart.
It was just gas.
Yeah, it was just really gassy. No baby.
Yeah, I know how I react. I know how I react when I'm in that situation. That's why working from home has been great. No one has died.
Nobody sees you drinking blood to keep your diarrhea down.
Oh, yep. All right.
Gonna make a bloody diarrhea joke, but
so they the whole circus starts looking for what made the leopard explode, and we cut to Yanka's trailer where we see like a big worm creature crawling in through the roof under her covers, and then we'll just say inside of her from there. Yeah.
Yeah, I also got a it was very alien looking, like what's his name? Elmer from Brain Damage.
Elmer, yeah.
Yeah. It's very like, there was also this.
I mean, it's a dick worm, right? So and that's what Elmer is.
Yeah, or like a space slug or whatever you want to. Yeah. Dick
It's
worm.
like
Dick worm's good.
A tentacle. Tendicle. She got tendicled. All right. Well, it was horrific and erotic, I guess.
There's also right before there's like an oozing slime like lead up to it, and then right before the tentacle shows up in the trailer window, there's just a shot of the night sky and of like the stars.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. It was like slightly out of place. But they have the shot comes in again later on that I want to talk about.
Ooh, really?
So, yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
Just want to mention it up front. Yeah.
I noticed that shot, but I didn't notice any follow-up to it, and I just thought it was like a little moment of Lovecraft. Like, okay, yeah, all right, we'll talk about it. Sweet. Baller.
Yeah, definitely mention it, because I don't know the part you're talking about. So.
Same.
Yeah.
All right, so now that the worm is inside Yanka, next morning she wakes up, she's vomiting, and we see like she gets on her scale. She actually got on her scale earlier, but she gets on and writes down her weight, and she has been gaining weight for the kind of the time period that we can see. I think we could only really see like a few days, but she mentions that she's been gaining weight.
She seems confused. Like, we go from a scene where we watch a creature crawl inside of her vagina, and then in the next sequence, she's confused as to why she's gaining weight. I'm not a woman or well educated about women, but wouldn't you be able to tell that there's a thing in there? I'm a little confused. I was a little confused. Like, are you confused as to what's going on? Isn't it patently obvious?
Like, hold her belly. Like, at one point they show like a close up. I think she's just traumatized. I think her boyfriend's beating her up. She was just raped by a space slug. I think she's just confused right now. I don't know.
Okay.
Let me quick jump to the next scene, because she goes and gets like a letter, and I think she finds out that she's pregnant. And that's when she packs her stuff quickly and basically just leaves the circus.
Oh, I didn't catch.
So my question is, was she pregnant before the worm, and the worm kind of is now replacing the baby?
Oh, that could be.
Or because she's been gaining weight over the course of X number of days. So I'm assuming she was pregnant already.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't think about that.
And it was just a little early that she wasn't quite sure yet.
So maybe the worm infested, like went inside the fetus or attached to it
like
somehow.
Took its place.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool. That might be, because later on at the end.
Yep.
When the birth scene, there's a deal going on.
Yep, and we'll get to that because it is horrific.
Yeah. That's cool.
That explains some shit. All right, we're going to talk about it. Oh, boy.
All right, so now we jump a month ahead, and we see her circus husband in a taxi who is trying to track her down. And the cab driver remembers her because I believe he comments that she was really pretty and had huge boobs. So, of course, he wouldn't forget. He finds her in a rundown, just garbage apartment building. It's basically it looks like it's condemned.
I think the scene ends when you hear the landlord literally murder somebody for their rent.
And somebody murdered somebody, yeah.
Yeah, I thought I heard it was like a landlord saying, like, if you don't have my rent, then I'm going to have your life or something like that. And then you hear gunshots. And that's what leads her to, like, leave the area because, some shit's going to go down.
Well, but that's coming up.
No, well, what I wanted to say was the place is so dingy and run down that I was shocked it had a landlord. Like, I thought she was squatting in a room with no walls or whatever.
Yeah, I thought she was just squatting in like a broken down building on a pier or something like that.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. Yeah.
But yeah, so her husband finally finds her in her apartment, and standing at the door, she basically just immediately stabs him in the stomach, and she starts talking to herself about how she doesn't want to kill him. She tosses the knife aside. She runs to another room, and we suddenly hear the voice that she's talking to, and it's her baby telling her to kill him.
Oh, please, I didn't want to kill him.
You didn't want to kill him, but you did.
Don't hurt me again.
I won't hurt you if you do what I tell you.
I can't. I can't do that. I can't do what you ask. It's too horrible.
You will.
Let me repeat that. It's her baby telling her to kill her old husband.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, that tracks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I thought the first stab was pretty shocking because she basically just opened the door like, oh, hello, doink. Like she got him right away. There was no like build up. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think he basically tells her like to come back, and she just stabs him.
Yeah, immediately.
I think it's the first in a long running tradition in this movie of establishing a male character who they double down on showing you what a shithead he is, and then she just murders them immediately.
Oh yeah,
it never gets old.
All the guys are assholes that you're just like,
they're all
okay.
pieces of shit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
but she stabs him and then leaves him. She doesn't like finish him right then. She leaves him on the floor to like start to bleed out, right?
I mean, I think she thinks he's dead.
Okay. Yeah.
So the next morning, the baby is telling her that he needs to have the husband's blood to help him grow in her womb, and if she doesn't do it, the baby will split her stomach open. So she grabs a knife to try to stab her own. Or no, she grabs a fork to try to stab her own stomach, but the baby monster starts, I guess, like hurting her from the inside. She drops it. She falls down. Eventually, she grabs a knife.
She like vomits blood. Like whatever it's doing to the inside of her, it is doing damage.
Yeah.
Not fun.
She kind of eventually grabs the knife and walks over to the husband. Turns him over. He was on his stomach, sees that he's still alive, and then she just starts stabbing the hell out of him. Like you just blood spurting all over him, and we can only assume based on later in the movie that after stabbing him and getting blood everywhere, she drinks the blood, but it's off screen this time.
Well, she also mentioned that she's completely buck naked while she's doing this entire murder scene.
Oh yeah.
Like she has this like cool, like fuzzy blood red robe on, and then that gets ripped off, and then she's murdering him, and we get like a shot from his point of view. And as she's stabbing him, she's just getting drenched in like buckets of blood, and she's just screaming. It's freaking awesome.
You see, I can hurt you. I can cause you agony. Go and slit his throat. Go on. Slit his throat. Take the knife. Take the knife. Take it. Go over to him. Go on. Plunge it into his throat with all your strength. Cut his arteries, cut his veins, and rip out his eyes.
It's fucking
insane.
shocking.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It reminded me of 81's Possession.
Yes.
That subway sequence when she has the demonic miscarriage and spills the eggs.
Yep.
Yeah, the total Possession vibes. It was awesome. I think that was probably hands down like her best performance in the movie. I loved that. That whole sequence is great. And like her being naked was awesome. Thank you, movie. It was great. But also it kind of makes sense that it's like a woman struggling with her body, and for this like first time killing to feed the thing inside of her, that it is a very like, I don't know. I don't want to say like bodily autonomy or bullshit like that, but like it was kind of cool. It played thematically. It was fun. It was cool.
I won't thank you, Eric, for mentioning the nudity in the scene. I won't mention it every time
Because she's naked a lot.
Yeah. But know that this movie, there's so much nudity, it could get an 11 stabs instead of 10. So, there is a lot.
Well, we also meet Dan's criteria for total stabs too. We'll talk about that later too.
Yep.
But besides it being completely like a blood gore fest, there's also this nasty like grittiness about it. When he's talking to her, when the baby's talking to her, like convincing her to finish him off and kill him, she's just eating like leftover food. There's just like a zoom in of like a rotten apple, and then there's like baked beans and a hot dog and shit. It's like smeared on her mouth, and it's just, and her fingernails are all like dirty on it. It's just gross. The building she's in, it's gross. She's drinking like rainwater that had fallen through the ceiling. Like, besides the blood, it's just, the whole movie's really nasty.
Well, and not only is she drinking like the metal tub full of rainwater, but she's also washing herself in it and also drinking it at the same time.
Oh God, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
it's a lot. It's a whole vibe that she's got going. More power to her. But it's rough out there.
Doing what you got to do to keep your blood drinking baby from being a monster. I have no idea.
We're all just trying to raise our uteral monsters. All right.
Yeah.
That's all we're trying to do.
Yeah, it takes a
do you
village.
Think if so actually, you know what? Never mind. I'm going to take it back. I was about to ask if we were to get invaded by this monster creature, would they be able to grow inside of us if we drink blood in order for it to live? I mean, probably, right? We could probably gestate a monster that needs me to drink blood.
I mean, if it can attach to a burrito in Greg's belly, then yes.
Yeah, I hope it likes Chinese food.
Hot sauce, salsa.
I guess
I want that.
I guess like, so in a woman's body that is pregnant already, it has a place to go where nourishment would go. In a man, I would assume it would have to go into like the stomach cavity,
and
or possibly like one of the intestines if it is down for that.
And I had never even considered the idea that she was already actually pregnant, and then this creature just infested or like took over that baby, which we'll talk about later, because then the hardware would be there, like the umbilical cord would actually deliver whatever it is that she eats, as opposed to what I was imagining, which was like literally this baby being in her belly and like catching the blood in its mouth. A little different.
But it also has control pretty much over her pain receptors or something, and
it can like grab
and
her
also
organs.
Like a lot of other aspects of her body. So
it can give her,
and like that'll come up later, but
we're gonna talk about her having sex with a baby. All right. So now she just ate this husband.
Yep, she ate the husband. Now she's sleeping, and that night, like Dan mentioned earlier, there's gunshots and fighting, and I guess the landlord is killing people, and the baby's like, "Oh, we gotta get out of here."
Which I love the idea of it's like a monster baby that knows how the police work. Oh, the cops are gonna be here! Quick, we gotta get out.
Yeah. And then she packs up her one suitcase and heads out. We see him walking along like a river or something, and they see a homeless man, and the baby's like, go kill him and drink his blood. But instead of doing that, she jumps into the water and tries to drown herself. And the baby is basically screaming at her about like to get out, get back up on land. And we don't see kind of what happened, what transpires from there. But we do see that she did get out. She's out of the water, and the baby's basically talking to her again and saying like, "Oh, don't do that. I just want to be born." That was Italian, not French.
Just like anybody else.
Yeah. He's like, "I want to be born like a human. I'm a human in here, maybe."
I promise. You can't see me winking, but I'm winking. I have to tell you that. Legally.
My wormy fingers are crossed.
This is where the movie kind of turns into Under the Skin for like half an hour, which is pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a buddy.
Yeah.
It's like a buddy road movie. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
it's like, let's hit the road.
Well,
Planes, trains, and under the skin.
Dan, I assume you under the skin. By that you mean that like it's just like picking up random people to murder.
Yeah, a hot
Yeah.
lady.
Not necessarily
catching,
a road trip.
Well, it's more than that. It's like an attractive woman using her wiles to lure truckers and vagabonds away in order to feed an otherworldly entity. It's like beat for beat.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she quickly gets a ride from a trucker, and I'm just going to speed through this because it's not that important. But
Ka-chow!
the trucker ends up, they're driving for a bit. He stops to get gas and ends up leaving her at the gas station because he picked up 2 German girls that he would prefer to take with him instead of her. That's about it there. She didn't kill him.
Yeah.
I think it's establishing that like guys suck. I think they're setting up that like, hey, every man that's been in your life has abused you, so you might as well start feeding the baby.
Yeah, there's a weird vibe with the truck. I think this must have been one of the original. They cut a couple scenes out for the English version, so I think Kino pieced it back together so it's subtitled. It's not. There's no English dubs over it, and they make it a point to say that he's a Portuguese driver. And then he talks. He has this very weird dialogue where he talks about being gay and his butt hurting all the time.
What?
And then he talks about this girl Rosie and her transsexual surgery and joining the military, and then he drove big trucks, but now he's straight. It was like this very weird. I think it was supposed to be like played for comedy, but in the subtitles it didn't come off that way to me. Anyway, it was really weird. I guess he was supposed to be like, "You can trust me." I'm like, I don't know, not a threat. You know what I mean? It was weird.
That dialogue was weird.
I could see.
I
how
want
they
to get a
cut it.
beer with that guy. I feel like he's got stories. I want to hang out with trucker friend.
He was also wearing a sweater that just had illustrations of people having sex in different positions.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. When he meets the 2 like Eurotrash traveler girls that are hitchhiking, and they both just like freak out over his Kama Sutra knitted sweater.
It's so weird. I'll try and find it on Etsy.
That's got to be out there.
So after that scene, we jump 2 more months. It's now 2 months after the pregnancy. Or after 2 months after she's become a warm alien mama. We follow this like real creepy dude named Richard. He's an ugly, creepy guy that apparently it can pick up girls pretty easily. So kudos to France.
And I think in the opening, like 90 seconds with this guy, we learn that he like eye fucks every girl he sees. He cheats on the only girlfriend he can keep. And then when the girlfriend is yelling and berating him, when the girlfriend is yelling at him and like berating him for cheating on her, he then proceeds to ask her for free lunch and then steal money from the cash register.
Yeah.
So he's like a shithead times 11.
Yeah. And Yanka is waitressing at the diner that this is all happening in, and she catches his eye because he's a fucking creepo. So the Richard's girlfriend at the end of the night is waiting around for him. I skipped one scene where like he goes after her but slips and makes noise.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I honestly, in that whole sequence, it was kind of cat and mousey stuff where they're setting up that he wants to fuck her or whatever. I couldn't tell if she was flirting with him. Was she flirting with him?
Yeah.
Or was she just looking at him?
I think she was luring him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She was trying to lure him in the basement at that one point. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But he makes so much noise. The girlfriend comes down, catches him, and he's just like, I'm looking for the bathroom.
I'm walking here.
Hey.
Hey. I think the reason she was luring him was to kill him in the basement because the baby's like, I'm so disappointed. And then then she's like, I know how you feel. And she has blood on her nose, like that she's wiping. So I guess she's starting to like come along to the idea that we're enjoying like murdering at this point, so she's which is a change in her character from before.
No, I gathered that was happening. What I was wondering was, is this guy such a creep that just the waitress looking his way leads him to want to corner him in a basement? Or was she like raising an eyebrow or doing something that I just wasn't picking up on? Because that whole scene that I know she kept intentionally like looking his way, but it never seemed flirty to me. So it just made him all the creepier.
Oh yeah,
grosser.
no, I think he was just creeping, and then she picked up on the fact that he was a creep and was like, "Oh, I can grab this guy." Did you guys also see the Baby Blood 2 poster? Outside.
Yes.
It's just like a man with his hands up protecting himself, like screaming.
Yeah, and it said coming soon, Baby Blood 2.
Yeah, that's great.
Did you guys see the sign that for 15 francs you can join the sandwich club?
No, but that sounds awesome.
That's all it said. It said sandwich club, 15 francs. And I was like, yeah, I'm doing that club.
Do you think it's a sandwich club, or are they selling a club sandwich for 15 francs?
You know what? I had never considered that, and I'm livid with you, Greg. Didn't want to break your... It was going to be like Boy Scouts, but I got merit badges for eating Reubens. I want to eat a Subway hoagie and get a clap on the back for it, you know?
I like the idea of like it's a club, like a book club. You all show up, you eat your grilled cheese together, and you compare it, talk about maybe what's coming next week.
Well, listeners, if you could go into your podcast app, give us all 5 stars, and let us know if you'd like to join our sandwich club.
Yeah, 15 francs and you're in. The only catch is when you die, we need 15 minutes alone with your body. Don't ask questions. It's part of our traditions.
And we have to mail your sandwiches, so they might be a little nasty by the time you get them.
Just consider yourself privileged that you get them, you know? Maybe you'll just get a bite because I don't want to make a lot of sandwiches.
It'll be like little teacup sandwiches.
Little tea sandwich? Yeah,
that makes sense. So, 5 stars and 15 francs, please. Just do those and you're in.
I like tea sandwiches because you can eat a whole lot of them, but it's still like 2 sandwiches. You know?
I like tea sandwiches when you make like 12 sandwiches and you arrange them in the shape of an uppercase letter T and then just eat them all. It's my kind of tea sandwich. I can eat a lot of sandwich.
The way you do it, Dan.
Yeah. I'm
just
a bread
2
boy.
Big hoagies.
Yeah.
Like intersecting. All right. Well, this is sandwich talk, and we're gonna move on.
Speaking of sandwiches, how many could she fit through that gap in her face?
Wow, we're not criticizing her dental work.
No, she has like a gap between her 2 front teeth that usually I would feel weird pointing out, but she breathes through her mouth through the entire movie, so it's definitely her most like predominant feature. It's actually kind of pretty. Looks nice.
I wouldn't say that's her predominant feature.
Well, that's true. I guess the cabbie did call her the brunette with tits. Which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
But, no, I like a gap tooth. It's good luck. It's like wide enough for a straw. If it seems practical.
That's true. That is true. All right. So we got the Richard's girlfriend is waiting for him outside the diner or restaurant after work, but he ends up meeting up with Yanka at a restaurant somewhere else in town. They drink a bunch of wine, have a little fun. The baby monster pretty much keeps saying like, just kill him. Let's kill him. Can we kill him? Afterwards, he's drunk. They go back to outside of her apartment, or what I assume is her apartment building. He's wanting to come in, but she makes him go away. She doesn't seem to want to kill him at this point. Then we get a short scene the next day, back in the diner where Yanka's working, and the girlfriend starts seeming to become suspicious of Yanka, that she's been hooking up with her creepy, shitty man.
We should say, I know he is a shitty, creepy man, and it's wonderful what happens to him, but that performance that actor gave to play that creepy, shitty guy, fucking outstanding. Loved it. He sold the shit out of it. So much so that I kind of think maybe the actor himself is a shitty person. It's such a convincing, such a good performance.
That's just the way it is in real life.
Yeah, I have it in my notes. I could not take my eyes off of him when he was being a real sleazeball. He did a great job.
Especially when he's just in tighty whities. A little bit later. Can't keep my eyes off him.
The dinner scene where he's just like slurping oysters and staring at her boobs.
Oh my God.
And then she laughs at him from something the baby says. Like they're having like private jokes, her and the baby in her head. The baby's like, take him to bed and I'll grab his balls. He just starts like, and then she just starts cracking up. And the dude's like, "Oh, are you laughing because I used to be a clown at a circus?" It's like the weirdest dinner scene.
Is that when he starts like making out with her hand and begging to have sex with her?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
it
it's
must have
definitely
been-
what you do on date one.
It also must have been hot in France when they were filming because everybody's sweating. Everyone's like which adds to the nastiness of the grossness of everything. Everyone just seems like wet and sweaty.
It does have that Hennelotter, New York feel.
Yeah.
Where everything's
that's
dirty
it.
and
Yeah.
sweaty.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, this is the oh, well, actually, no, this is the 90s. Why is this movie so gritty? You're right. Henenlotter was like the 70s, wasn't he?
It's the late 70s, 80s.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is 90, 91?
Oh, this is 90. So it would have been filmed in the 80s, right?
Oh, it was
Yeah,
filmed
maybe.
in 89. Yeah, it was filmed in 89.
Oh, just made it. Just made it.
But you're right. Everybody's briny. Everybody's been to the beach all day, for sure.
Yeah. It just adds to it. She, there's also a cool shot of her just like walking the streets that feels very Hennelotter, like New York, where she's just passing like all these seedy stores and she's just laughing to herself. Like she's getting excited by the prospect of like killing this guy. I think she's like digging it now, you know? It's pretty cool.
And she and the baby start kind of becoming friends in that sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really fun to watch.
So it kind of makes sense because, you know, we're equating it to Brain Damage, that kind of 80s New York Hennelotter vibe. Brain Damage, directed by Frank Hennelotter, came out in 88, right before Baby Blood. This super feels like Brain Damage.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah,
really does.
Yeah.
I wonder what was going on at the time that a filmmaker in France and filmmakers in the US, filmmakers all over the place, were making kind of similar movies, venting kind of similar anxieties in similar ways. Something about like a dilapidating society and metropolitan epicenters and people worried about the next generation. Something trauma repeats. Anyway,
Yeah.
Baby Blood's about a lady that drinks blood.
Yeah, Baby Blood and Brain Damage are basically the like Armageddon Deep Impact of the late 80s. Right?
There you go.
Pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like them better,
all right.
actually. Fuck
Yeah,
Armageddon
yeah.
and fuck
Well,
Deep Impact. I hated both
well.
those movies.
Disagree. Armageddon's great.
Would make a pretty great double feature.
Yeah.
Baby Blood and Armageddon. That's what I'm talking about.
Nice. All right, let's move on. We've been talking about an entirely other movie too much. So that night, Yanka is out, and the baby convinces her to kill a random guy on the street. So she starts kind of following this guy, and he's just like, "Oh, do you like following men?" She's like, "Yeah, that's what I do." But they kind of start making out, and she stabs him in the neck and starts drinking his blood. Meanwhile, all these people are like walking past her, so she just like turns him against the wall, so like it just looks like they're making out, but she's just drinking all the blood that's coming out of him. It's pretty great.
I
then,
loved that kill because they actually are kind of making out. 'Cause the way she kind of wedges the knife into his neck in like a sneaky way, and he stops resisting when she like they have a really extreme close up of her like sucking his tongue and his lips, and he does stop resisting while they're kissing. So when the people are coming off of a subway car and walking by and be like, "Oh, love is in the air," the dude is dying, but he is kissing her back. And then as soon as they all walk away and she pulls away from him, he goes back to dying again. It's a really cool little sequence. I loved it.
Hey, look, love is in the air.
Yeah, there's something going on with like the pleasure pain thing because earlier the baby's moving around in her and she's like
Yes.
up in like an alleyway up against a wall and she's almost like having an orgasm and he's like, "Are you enjoying that?" And she's like, "Yes." And so there's this strain, although he can make her bleed out of the face at any like given time and kill her. There's definitely some sort of like weird stuff going on.
So he can like punish her if she doesn't do anything, or what he wants, and he can also like reward her if he does.
Totally. Yeah.
So this was the one guy that I don't think like necessarily deserved to die. Like we didn't learn enough about him to think that he was like a shitty person.
It's true.
You know, like she propositioned him.
Yeah, that's true.
He didn't like force himself on her. So this might have just been a baby needs to eat kill, you know?
Yeah. I did, listening to that commentary, this guy, his name's Alain Robak. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But he is in some of those Quentin duplex films. Is that how you pronounce his name? The guy did Rubber.
Yo, no way.
He did a movie called Reality that this guy stars in. And I was also looking on his IMDb. He's also the voice of Shrek in the French dub, like all the Shrek movies. I would love to see him just like in a booth, you know, doing the Shrek voice.
Nice. Yelling about donkey.
Donkey.
All right. So, Yanka has now killed a guy on the street. She lets him kind of bleed out and die, and she runs away back to her apartment where Richard, the creepy ugly guy, is waiting for her at her door. And we cut to inside the apartment, and they are banging. I guess she just couldn't take his animalistic charm, resist it anymore.
I like that he had his socks on still. They pan down to his socks. They look like little kid socks.
And he pulled his wiener like through the front flap in his whitey tighties.
Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
Oh, is it? Is that what you're supposed to do? I've been doing it wrong all these years.
Yeah, you keep the tighty whities on. You keep the socks on.
And it's
all very normal. He does make a comment that something like grabs him.
Yeah.
So that's pretty funny that the monster followed up on what he said he wanted to do.
Well, fun fact, after he says like, oh, something grabbed me down there. Like people in these movies never want to say penis or junk. But then after she like pulls him back in and starts making out with him, I was wearing headphones at this part, and she's like moaning as they're making out, and then the audio track fades her moaning into the baby moaning. The baby voice starts moaning.
Wow.
So she and the baby are both having sex with the dude.
Crazy.
All three of them are having sex together.
Weird.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how to transition from that.
and that's the end. All right, we'll see you next time.
So the next morning, she gets out of bed. She goes into the kitchen. She starts kind of freaking out about the baby, how like she just wants it to die. She threatens to stab herself in the stomach to kill it again. Richard wakes up. He comes in. He's dressed in his underwear. And as romantic as that is, he ends up proposing to her, and she just stabs him repeatedly with scissors. Because don't propose to women in just your tighty whities, fellas. You're going to get stabbed with scissors.
He also says, like, we will have children.
Yeah.
Which I think really sets her off.
That probably wouldn't go over super well with her, as she has a monster baby growing in her.
Well, I think she's like tormented
got
by
bad experiences with it.
I read it. She was like tormented by this pregnancy that she does not want, and she desperately wants out of her. And also, did you notice in that sequence where she's like arguing with the baby inside of her? She had like a carton of milk in her hand.
Yeah.
And as they're arguing, she starts squeezing the milk, and it's just spraying out of the bottle all over the kitchen. I thought that was a really cool thematic touch. But yeah, she doesn't attack the dude until he says, like, I want you to have my children. At which point she just immediately jabs him. She stabs him to death through his stomach. She like stabs his stomach like 100 times. Which I kind of read that as like every man I've been with has fucked me over. And now you want to do whatever the fuck is happening to me right now again.
Yeah.
So she just guts him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it.
I also think it was funny that she went into the kitchen and started smoking, and the baby's like, you shouldn't smoke. Pregnant women shouldn't smoke. It's bad for the baby. Like, he's a piece of shit.
Also, don't forget the first date she was with this guy. She drank like a bottle of wine herself.
Yeah, that's true.
And the baby had no problem with that.
Yeah.
Nope.
It's the anti-cigarette ad, Baby Blood. Check it out.
Watch it with your kids. It's wholesome.
Because I want you to marry me. We'll have children.
That kill, the camera, the POV of the camera, it's like her hand with the scissors almost, and it's just like pendulum swinging back and forth, like boom, boom, like continuously penetrating him, and it is awesome. And there's blood everywhere. There's blood on the walls. There's blood. Oh, you know what else is cool about that? And this comes up a little later. When he first walks in the room, the creepy clown underwear guy, socks and underwear. What's his name?
Richard.
What a dick.
He walks into the room before they have the confrontation, before she kills him, and the refrigerator door just like creaks open just a hair, and he gives it like a funny look and like shuts the door.
I love that moment.
It looked like it was almost an accident, like on set, and then it totally comes back in a little bit, and it was on purpose.
Yeah.
It was so well done. I love that little detail.
Yeah. So after Yanka is finishing stabbing Richard, somebody's banging on the door yelling about how, they know that Richard's in there. Yanka goes to the door. Well, she first smashes the light bulb in the kitchen and shuts the door. At the door is Richard's girlfriend. Again, like I said, yelling that, she knows Richard's there, and Yanka's she is I don't know.
A killer.
Did you just die?
My brain stopped. Cut that out. I'll start it over.
I think the baby.
No, leave that shit in.
The baby started talking to him. Your egg. You will not get through this description.
So after Yanka is done stabbing Richard, there's a banging on the door, and Richard's girlfriend is outside yelling about how she knows that Richard's there. Yanka opens the door, she comes in, barges in, starts looking through the rooms, and ends up going into the kitchen where Yanka shuts the door and locks it from the outside. Mm-hmm. And it's pitch black in the kitchen, but like Eric mentioned, the fridge door pops open and the fridge light comes in, and all of a sudden, like, Richard kind of like pops up over the back of the door, just like bleeding, and then dies. And this is where we get a pretty nice Troll 2 scream from the girlfriend.
Oh my!
It's one of those super exaggerated screams. Yeah,
goes on a little too long. Yeah,
and a really goofy, like Peter Jackson's, like a goofy gore movie, kind of like fast zoom in on the dude peeking over the door and dying.
Yeah, very.
Well, it was like a jump scare that didn't really work.
Oh, it was fun though. I loved this. This whole
fun.
sequence was great.
It wasn't a surprise.
They carry her scream over into the next shot. With Yanka running down the street, like her scream carries through, and then like that African drum beat soundtrack kicks in. It's pretty nice.
Yeah. Back to the leopard. Running.
And this is another kill where like just the amount of blood is awesome. I like how bloody like that entire kitchen. Became.
You know what else is cool? She after she kills him, Yanka, and she's like going to leave the room, she slips on like all the nastiness, and she like loses her footing and falls down, which looked genuine to me. It didn't look like it was like scripted, and it just shows you how like nasty and dirty everything was in that room.
Totally convincing. Sells it, and I love it, and I'm looking forward to rewatching it again. Sorry, it's not the end yet. I'm sorry. All right, I'll hold in my enthusiasm.
Yeah, we're getting there though. There's not too much left. So now we cut to 6 months after the pregnancy, after the worm entrance to the pregnancy. And we have Yanka. She's working as a taxi driver, and she ends up picking up a guy who had just left the horse races or the chariot races. I've never seen horse races like that before.
That whole sequence where they also, I think that was their way of showing that this guy's like worthy of dying. Be like, oh, here's a guy getting drunk at the horse races,
gambling away his mom's money.
I feel bad that guy's got the justification for this poor man dying was that he just likes to see horses. That's not fair.
Well, I think he blew his like family's money gambling. Like he had a gambling problem.
You know what?
Yeah.
His money, her money, they're married, dude. You know, whatever.
Was the punk like his brother or something, or were they just?
I thought so.
Or stepson. I thought it was like his stepson and his friend. I got that kind of a vibe.
Okay, yeah, I was confused.
Like you're my mom's like dipshit boyfriend or something.
Oh, that makes sense too.
Gotcha. Yeah, because at first I was like, oh, these hoodlums are gonna roll this guy for money, but then he was like, oh, hey, I know you. Stepson.
I guess we can pick up that this shithead guy leaves the horse track race and is walking away when two like Nazi punks. Were they Nazi punks? Fuck off, Nazi
but
punks.
This doesn't matter. This doesn't matter though.
Well, they pester him for money. And what I want to get to is there's this little moment where he's like distracting him with money, and in order to keep them occupied while he gets a cab, he just chucks like $10 in the air and runs away, and the two kids are wrestling over the $10. I like that.
Yeah.
That was a clever way to get rid of two punks. High five, buddy.
So Yanka picks him up and starts driving away, and the baby sees a jogger just running on his own, doing nothing besides jogging, and the baby wants him dead. So Yanka turns off the car's lights. The passenger she picked up is starting to freak out, and he tries to like grab the steering wheel, and she just like punches him and knocks him out. And then ultimately, Yanka ends up driving into the jogger. When she kills him with the car, we don't see him like get smashed in by the car, but we see the car pulling back, and it's just like his head is just squished behind the like front end of the car and a brick wall. And she pulls back. She gets out of the car with like a tire iron or something like that, and just starts beating him senseless, and we see his like head fly off.
Yeah,
it's fucking brutal. It's grisly.
And the passenger in the back wakes up and sees what's happening and gets out of the car, and he kind of runs away, looks back, sees that she's just like covered in blood, and she's like licking the blood off her fingers and things, and then he ends up getting hit by a truck.
Yeah.
End scene.
So, yeah, then they just cut.
Yeah,
They're like, that's good enough.
I have a question here. So was this a dream?
I don't think so.
I think she killed two guys.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think she killed two guys.
The whole time she's also like 8 or 9 months pregnant while she's doing this, which makes it even more great. Why are you saying it was a dream? Because she like got away with it and didn't get caught or whatever?
Because it just completely cut. She's driving the same car the next day. Like she's not covered in blood anymore, but she's wearing the same clothes.
Oh, I didn't think so. I didn't take it as a dream. Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, why would it be a dream? Because we see the first half of the scene with the guy leaving the horse track and everything.
Yeah, so that's my one would have been my one problem with the dream theory.
Yeah, I think they just poorly like didn't show how she got out of it.
Yeah, just a continuity error, or we just are to assume that she's just this good at murdering now.
Yeah.
Like she could just get away with this shit.
That's true. She's been doing it a while, 6 months.
Plus, like she can also just get away with it because nobody suspects that this like young, beautiful, pregnant woman that is constantly looking confused about where her missing third front tooth is. Like she could never kill anybody, but here she is killing people.
I mean, yeah, she just walks around just covered in blood all the time and nobody questions it. So.
What the fuck is up with that?
It's true. Yeah, later. Yeah.
Towards the end of the movie, people like are trying to like rape her, and she's already just coated in blood. It's absurd.
Yeah. Yep.
Man, men are monsters. Guys, men are monsters. Subscribe to our Patreon, and Greg and Eric and I, we're all going to cut off our penises. It's going to happen.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
If we get 50 Patreon subscribers,
that doesn't seem
Greg
like a
will
lot.
cut off his penis.
Oh, Greg. Okay, yeah, I'm out.
All right, fine.
All right.
Fine. It's $100 level.
You still set the bar so low.
Oh, damn it.
All right,
Oh,
leave
man.
it on. Leave it on. You're fine.
Join our sandwich club and contribute to Greg's missing penis.
Don't ask where the meat from our sandwiches came from.
Oh boy. All right. So now we cut to Yanka driving again, and she's talking to the baby, and they're having a discussion about the kind of guys that she likes and that she likes to make love with. And she mentions that she really likes sad eyes, and like that like she likes guys that are unhappy. And the baby monster kind of talks about how the ability to be unhappy is what is it sees it as that's what makes a person a human, because like animals don't feel unhappiness or something like that. I think that's what he had said.
Yep.
That was interesting.
What do you like about men?
Sad eyes. I like it when a man looks unhappy.
Unhappy?
Yeah.
I just thought of something. Is a man intelligent because he knows he's unhappy? After all, an animal doesn't know it's unhappy. So is unhappiness a sign of intelligence? Push your seat back. Push back your seat.
It's uncomfortable. You get on my nerves.
You realize I could be born deformed.
No.
You hate me, don't you?
If you want to be born, we drive this way.
Yeah, I like that too. It was saying that like the more intelligent you are, then the more unhappy you become. So unhappiness is a sign of intelligence.
There you go.
That's good. I like that. I mean, that's why the three of us are such happy-go-lucky boys.
Because we have no intelligence.
It's called Stabby Stabby, not Thinky Thinky.
There you go.
Yeah.
So now we have a quick sequence of her giving birth, and she's sitting against a rail by a train track, and all of a sudden we see two just full human-sized arms rip through her stomach, and she looks very Dr. Octopus for about a minute. It's very gory, but it turns out to just be a dream, and she wakes up in her car.
It's very Cronenberg, that scene, like super body horror. It was cool too, the way it was lit. It almost looked like a stage production or something with the train station behind her. I couldn't help but think about Freddy Krueger's long ass arms from the first Elm Street movie, but just obviously they're covered in blood without the glove. But it had that shooting out of a pregnant woman's belly, but still, like the long ass weird arms just kind of got me. It was cool, great sequence.
There's something, I love it. There's something about that, like certain directors do that thing where they have that like horror image in mind. Like they have that shot of her with her legs splayed open, with they're like antlers coming out of her pregnant belly, but they're like hyper extended arms. And they use the like quick cut editing in order to set up like, all right, we know the shot we want, so let's just show her grabbing some shit, and then we'll be able to pull back and it'll make sense why she's in this position. And it was just like Peter Jackson. I think Edgar Wright does that a lot, where it's like quick edits. Like you just see hand grab this, foot moves here, and then bam, money shot. And I loved it. The editing and the direction, and loved it. This is a pretty ass movie for being so gore and gritty. And no business being as well made as it was.
All right, so she wakes up from her dream in her car, but her car won't start. She gets out trying to figure out what's wrong with it. Someone tries to help her, but she ends up throwing up blood on him. And she kind of gets... and she becomes sick, very weak. Another guy is driving along, and they stop the car. The one guy forces her into the car to go to the hospital, but Yanka doesn't want to go to the hospital. So she starts like grabbing at the wheel, and makes him crash his car into a wall where his head is impaled onto the windshield, and he dies, but she walks away.
That was an awesome shot. You can like see brain coming through the windshield. Fucking brutal. It's great.
Yeah.
Oh, and her walking away too was really wild. It was like shot underneath of her, and she must have been on some sort of like moving platform that started to speed up, but it just gave it this like surrealistic, like really otherworldly vibe. It was super cool.
Like she was floating.
Yeah, it was like she was floating. Yeah, it was really awesome.
Really cool.
Yeah, like maybe she just got a concussion from being in a pretty drastic car accident.
There you go. Yeah.
Could have been it, but
makes sense.
Yeah, she walks away, and eventually she wakes up in a room with an older woman. This older woman called an ambulance for her, and she's telling her about how like what she'll experience giving birth and all this stuff. And Yanka ends up just strangling the old woman with a telephone cord and then leaving out the window.
Her speech to her was not normal. The woman's, she was, it was like she was almost scaring her about the pregnancy. Like she was making it like seem like it was just dreadful and horrible. And she was like, you'll have the baby against your belly and breast. The cord will still be attached. You'll cut it yourself. And then she's just like, can you give me the phone? And she hands her the phone. And then she wraps that cord around her neck. She's like, yeah, you want to see something wrapped around someone's neck? Ah! And then she just kills her. Also, the only female that's killed in the movie, too.
Oh, shit. Good point. I didn't even think about that.
Drink her blood either. I think she's just in the way at this point. She's like, I got to get this lady out of here.
Well, yeah, she called an ambulance and she can't go to the hospital.
Yep.
Right? Like, she doesn't want to go to the hospital.
And part of that speech is she's like, you're going to push, and then you're going to see a little head, and then you're going to push some more, and then the whole body's going to come out all wet, just like a baby dolphin.
What?
Yeah, it's part of her speech.
Weird.
It was adorable and funny, and then the death. I was, honestly, like, when she choked out the old lady, like, I was shocked. I know I've seen this movie before, but, like, it's a weird speech, and it's kind of darkly funny. I thought it was kind of darkly funny.
Yeah,
and then when she just kills, it's just so outside her normal like kill streak. I was pretty shocked by it.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
also like she's being a nice lady. Like she's trying to help her out. Yeah.
Now she's dead.
Yeah, but Yanka's not a normal woman, so
yeah. Well, she was a member of the Sandwich Club, so we're gonna need 10 minutes alone with that body. We got some rituals to perform.
Oh, man.
They're secret
All right.
rituals, but you're going to get buried between two loaves of bread.
You know what? Now's a good time to grab your sandwich because we're going to a scene in the park.
Hell yeah.
Right.
And
oh my God. What kind of segue was that?
It was a good one. That's what.
That was great.
They're sitting around the park and the baby says that like, oh, it'll be born soon and it'll want to go back to its natural element, which is the sea, but it needs blood because it's feeling very weak. And Yanka herself is not doing great. She seems very tired, very out of it. She has just murdered a bunch of people for seemingly no reason.
Not really take it out of you.
But the baby needs food, baby needs blood. So she ends up taking a toy gun from a little kid in the park who's being an annoying douche. And
that looks like a real fucking gun.
It does.
His toy guns
were
were like practically. He borrowed his dad's empty pistols and was playing with them in the park.
Yeah, there was no little orange like tip on it, so to show you it was safe.
It's the 90s, man. It was the 80s and 90s. You didn't have safety things.
Didn't give a shit.
But yeah, she steals the toy gun from a kid and ends up going and hijacking a bloodmobile.
Makes sense.
And she walks in, grabs like 3 bags of blood, and just starts guzzling it. And it's disgusting.
And there's still a dude strapped down, and when she yanks the like cord out of his arm, you see that like spurt of blood fire out.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
I got a question about that guy though in a minute.
Yeah, me too.
She ends up guzzling the blood and stealing the bus. The guy is still there. Like everybody else left, but the guy who was kind of on the gurney giving blood, he's still on the bus. Somehow he got knocked out, I guess. Like
I thought he just passed out.
I think he passed out from the trauma.
Yeah.
From just having his little cord pulled out?
Yeah.
Like, there's a woman guzzling blood and she's holding a gun. Like, if he has an opportunity to get out, I'm not passing out. Like,
well, I mean,
I feel like adrenaline would get you through that. But
I don't know. I just
Or
assumed
maybe
he lost.
you know, you're a fighter. He's a flighter, and his flight made him pass out.
Yeah. Maybe he doesn't.
All
Really,
right.
maybe he doesn't like the sight of his own blood being drank by a pregnant woman.
That's true.
I love it. So I would have been. I would have been fine, I guess. All right, so she steals the bloodmobile. So as they're driving away, and this guy must have been knocked out for a while because it was daytime. It is now very nighttime. The baby is talking to her about how, you know, when it is born, it'll grow and evolve and eventually take over man's place on Earth in about 5 billion years.
Yeah, he's got his dream board all laid out.
Yeah, when he says 5 billion years, she just like audibly like laughs really loud because it's so ridiculous.
Well, he also asks her like, or he says like, "I'll miss you."
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'll miss being with you, which is interesting that they've grown together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is some sort of care there. I think in this moment there is like a care for each other. I mean, granted, he needs her, so
Yeah, the historians, I was going to mention this later, I could save it, but the director's commentary said that the director had mentioned that this is a love story.
Ooh,
So,
interesting.
yeah. So he loves, well, I wouldn't get into it now, but he loves her, the monster, while he's inside her. And then once he's born, she loves him on the outside, was his explanation of impossible love.
well,
So,
I don't see
whether
that, but
whether
okay.
you buy that or
I
not,
kinda
that's a
dig
whole
it.
other thing. Yeah.
I do kind of dig that.
The movie doesn't say that, that's for sure.
The movie is constantly framing the two of them as like kind of an abusive relationship, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's super transactional. It like he's constantly like I remember that whole conversation earlier about like she likes unhappy people, and he's saying, well, like, oh, that makes them intelligent. Like it's just another way of him being like, oh, it's normal to be sad and unhappy, and if you're sad and unhappy with me, that's normal. Like it's kind of gaslighting. Yeah, they have a whole. It seems complicated, but then also there's like an undercurrent of like postpartum and like the terror that comes with. I mean, not that I can't have a baby. Not that I would ever have a baby, but you know, you read these things. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna stop. There's a lot of like anxiety with being a mother and mothering, and this is oh boy, it's all right there, isn't it?
All right. Well, as they're driving, the stowaway guy ends up attacking her while she's driving, and the bus crashes. We cut to an ambulance showing up. The stowaway guy is dead. He looks to be impaled on a whole lot of things, and they load Yanka onto a gurney into the ambulance. The one is driving, and one is in the back doing CPR on her, but he comments that, you know, she's dead. You can't bring her back. She's bought it. The monster baby, though.
Hold on, Greg. You know what you do? What you do after somebody dies, like after you're trying to save them? You start reading a comic book.
Hell yeah!
All right.
He was like, I'm just gonna bust it. He's like, let me pick up where I find my bookmark here and back to my comic.
Yeah.
Which is,
well, we need to take attention away from her.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I also think it just showed like we always want to root for somebody to die for some sort of reason. So maybe that was like part of his character or something. I don't know. But
oh, that's interesting. Also, when he says that she died, doesn't he say like, "Well, she bit it" or something like that?
Yeah,
he's kind of disrespectful
like
about
he's like
it
a
too.
jerk. Yeah.
But then again, like these people see this stuff all the time. They're
True.
jaded
That's
to
true.
it.
Very
you know,
true.
like
It's like eating a sandwich over a dead body at like in the morgue.
yeah.
You know, if he was really gonna be nasty, I feel like they could have had him like grope her after she died or something like that. Like he could have done
That's
something
true.
real.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think they did. I don't think he did anything like that.
No, I don't think so either.
No.
The other guy certainly didn't either.
Yeah. But now it's like my favorite part of the whole movie next.
Yes. So we get a kind of a internal view of Yanka where we're kind of the camera is speeding through her body, and the baby's basically like, oh, it's getting cold. Are you dying? Are you dead? You know, you got to come back. And we get to her heart, and he says that, you know, like you have to get up. And all of a sudden we see her heart start beating just slowly, and then it speeds up, and it cuts to just a close up of her face and her eyes open. And she does end up killing that paramedic in the back. and blood everywhere again.
She kills
the
Isn't this where she kills the driver in the back by shoving an oxygen mask on his face and popping him like a balloon?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
It inflates all of his veins and limbs and shit.
Yep.
It's grisly.
yeah. And then you see the driver's point of view, and there's just like flesh chunks hitting the back of the little window.
The window.
Yeah, crazy.
Come back, Yanka. Come back.
Come on, Frank, be quiet. You need to quit fooling around or just get out. What the fuck?
Yeah, when they zoom inside of her body too, it kind of looks like a kid's like diorama of a heart, like
Yes.
a science project. It's all practical, but I didn't care at this point. It was the whole thing so fantastic. I was like, I'm bought in. I'm there with you.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you can make out like, oh, that's plumbing. That's like
yeah.
a pipe.
Yeah,
That's a tarp.
The walls are paper, like covered with painted over with blood, fake blood.
But it worked.
I liked it. It
worked
was
so well.
stylistic.
It was
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, it was like a style.
I love that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the ambulance pulls over. The driver opens the back door, and she ends up killing him as well. I believe she smashes his face with like an oxygen tank.
Yep.
Like caves it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's not feeling great, and that's because it's almost time for that baby monster to be born.
Birthing scene.
So we cut to the birth. It's over already. Yeah, we don't see the birth happen, but she doesn't have human arms sticking out of her stomach, so it does differ from what she dreamt about. But she's holding a human baby. Another like truck pulls up. I guess they're kind of like on the shoulder of a road where there's a map or whatever. Doesn't matter. A car pulls up to get like directions from that map, and she ends up stealing his car. And while they're driving, the baby's in the passenger seat, and she's just basically, I think she was like, how are you doing? Talk to me. And the baby doesn't talk.
No.
Opposed to where like the fetus talked. But her stolen car breaks down, so she goes into a mechanic and leaves the baby in the car. And she's inside waiting. She has a newborn baby just sitting in the car by itself.
Can I just before we keep moving on? Can I just say that I think this movie's like stacking on a couple of twists here. They're like stacking twists. I loved the reveal that maybe this was just a baby, and this entire thing has been in her head, and like she's psychotic and just cannot deal with being pregnant. I fucking love that idea. I thought that was so cool. Every time I see this movie and they reveal it's just a normal baby in her arms and not some kind of monster after the birth. Oh man,
Same.
It sends you through the moon. Like
Same,
again.
Dan. The first time I watched it, I was like giddy about that. I was like, whoa.
Seriously.
This is insane. It takes another direction, but yeah, they
It's just
totally
bleak. How dark is that?
screw with the audience. And the way the baby shot, it's like super pretty and like soft lighting and like she's like, it's almost like a different movie. There's like just wind over the soundtrack, like real soothing. And you're like, they really screw with the audience. Awesome.
Yeah, and she's terrified. Like she's like she seemed relieved to be done with the pregnancy, but also she's like shaking and kind of frantic, trying to get him to talk.
Yep.
And it's like, is she terrified that this is all in her head, or is she terrified that actually now she has to raise a kid? Like maybe she was looking forward to not having to raise a child.
Totally. Yeah.
Like there's a ton of shit that's just piled on top of there. Yeah. But then we get a twist on our twist.
Yeah, because as Yanka is waiting in the mechanic, a bus pulls up and a hitchhiker gets off of it. We've seen this hitchhiker a couple times, through the movie, but I forgot to mention him. But this hitchhiker walks up, sees the baby inside the car, walks up to the window, the open window where you can just steal babies from. Hey, 90s France, it's probably okay. He goes up and starts like kind of like baby talking to it, you know, because it's a cute baby.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he gets pulled into the car and is screaming and blood is just everywhere. Because that baby ain't a regular baby.
Nope.
Yeah, so Yanka sees this kind of happening and she goes out, pulls the hitchhiker out of the window, and he's all torn up. Goes to grab the baby, but now it's just baby skin.
Love like that reveal.
Yeah, it was disturbing.
This is the scene I was talking about. After she sees the shedded skin, she looks up to the stars, and it's the same exact star shot from the beginning before she's pregnant.
Oh shit!
So they did a full circle on that, which is pretty cool.
Huh. I wish babies actually did shed their skin though. Like baby cribs full of like loose baby sheddings. Like if every night they had to like get rid of yesterday's skin and grow a new one. That'd be cool as shit.
That's how babies get bigger, I thought.
Right? Like you grow out of your skin, you got to grow a new set.
Yeah.
That'd be. Yeah. I mean, can you imagine
new bones in
all the like Etsy shops that are just like baby skins knitted into Afghans or whatever? Shit, I want to live in that world. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I was over at a house one time and they just had a bunch of like stuffed babies, and I thought they just used like the baby skins.
Yeah.
I don't think I want to go over there again.
But the image of that like husk of a baby sitting on the ground is fucking shocking. And also, I never connected the idea of this monster being like an invasive parasite that was inside of her actual fetus until you guys mentioned it at the start of this movie. And I think that this shot is probably paying off what you pointed out, right? That this wasn't a creature that was just living inside of her. The creature was inside of her baby that was feeding off of her.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
I never connected that. So thank you.
I didn't either.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, there you go. I get one an episode where I can teach you something.
Yeah. So they untwisted the twist. The baby's a demon after all.
Yep. Yeah. So she follows the trail of blood from the car to the bus that had just arrived. She convinces the bus driver to let her get a ride on it, and she starts looking all over the bus trying to find the monster. Now, the bus is full of a bunch of soccer hooligan douchebags, and they basically just immediately start harassing her. While that's happening,
they had to set up that everybody on this bus deserves to die, and they had to do it quick. So this is how they do it.
Yeah, and they did it quickly.
Yep.
So while that's happening, the monster baby, who now is a like white alien squid face hugger looking kind of thing, attaches itself to the bus driver's head. And Yanka sees this happening. She escapes from the guys who just start singing and chanting for some reason. And she starts trying to like drive the bus because the bus driver's head is now like ripping open, and like you can see like bloody tentacles coming through its face, and it's pretty gnarly. But yeah, she's trying to keep the bus on the road, but I think she hits a point where she sees what this monster is doing and ultimately decides to let go of the wheel and to just let it crash. And then right before it's about to crash, we just get a shot, like a far off shot of just a huge explosion. Much bigger than a normal car explosion should be. But it is big, and we presume everybody on board is dead. Yanka, all the soccer guys, and the monster baby.
I was wondering so they show a sign before she crashes it. Did the sign say something? And it was all in French. So did it say like to the sea or the beach or something? Like, did she?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know either. I was like, because it seemed intentional. Like, why would they show a sign before she crashes it? So I thought maybe she was setting up the crash to release the monster or something, but I don't know for sure.
But yeah, if she is intentionally crashing it near water so the monster can get out to the water, then I understand how the director is seeing this as the monster loved her while he was inside, and she loved it when he, was birthed, because now she's letting him survive. I took it as if she was trying to kill it.
Same. I did too.
So I guess you could see it either way.
It's the massive explosion that's a problem. It's like, wouldn't that incinerate everything? Like, so yeah.
I think it does.
Yeah.
Because they never show any characters again after that, though. Right. They imply some shit, but you don't see any people after that.
Well, you don't see any people, but we do cut to I assume the next morning, and we see a blood trail and kind of like sand a smooth path to the ocean of sand, and we basically just leading to the ocean, and I assumed that the monster made it safe back to his home in the ocean.
Yeah,
me too.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And somehow survived the bus crash. Yeah. Maybe it was like thrown from the windshield since it was in the front driver's seat.
Or maybe he's just a squishy monster and can take, impact better.
Yeah.
Or maybe he hopped out the window or snuck inside the driver's, cranium and survived. I guess it could be a lot of things, but yeah, the monster survived and made it back to the ocean, and that's where our movie ends.
Woo. Yeah. What a great movie. Man, what a fun flick. I'm so glad we got to watch this together. This is great.
So there was a sequel, right? In 2008. I haven't seen it. Lady Blood?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, there's a sequel that has the same woman that's the star, and it's 15 years later, the creature comes back and starts killing people again.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the actress Emmanuelle, she organized the entire thing. Like, she pushed for it to come back. I wrote the description down. Yanka turns her life around and becomes a policewoman. But new murders and bloody crime scenes put her on the trail of a new evil, and he's coming to get her. 2008's Lady Blood. I kind of want to watch it, but I kind of don't.
From the reviews that I saw, it's not good. No. But I'm with you. I like this movie enough that I would totally watch the sequel no matter what the quality is. Just because I'm also curious to see what 2008, between 2008 and 1990, I enjoyed watching Yanka, like the actress performing Yanka, and this movie. I would be just curious to see how she does in 2008.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd like to see how she evolves as a performer. I'll watch it.
I'll have to find this because I need to see it.
I wonder if the monster's even in it at all. Like if it's just its own separate thing,
Yeah, it's certainly a different way of reading 5 billion is to say 15 years later. Definitely a little different from the original script.
I'm assuming
that's
he's
okay.
A little early.
I couldn't wait for you, Yanka.
Well, this is awesome.
Right.
What do you guys say we stab this belly to death?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Time for the ratings.
All right, so here on Stabby Stabby, this is our rating portion. We stab films to death based on a 1 to 10 rating. So the more that we like it, we affectionately stab it until beautiful buckets of blood and gore spill all over us.
Deliciously.
Let's see. Who wants to go first? Dan, how about you? What did you think of 1990's Baby Blood?
I love this movie. It's so well made. It's so well shot. It's so well directed. The color in it is amazing. We didn't talk about the soundtrack, but it fucking slaps. All the performances are outstanding. The gore effects hold up, and it's genuinely unsettling, and the subject material is so perverse and twisted and wonderful. I love this movie. It makes me feel disgusting when I watch it, and I love that feeling. And I'm giving this a 9.5 out of 10. I'm so close to giving it a 10. I don't know why I'm not, so I'm going to give it a 10. Baby Blood gets a 10 out of 10. Yeah, I actually wrote down 9.5, but fuck it. I love this movie. 10 out of 10. I highly recommend Baby Blood. This was awesome. It looks and feels like it was shot on a shoestring budget, and boy howdy do I love it. One of the most creative, fun, imaginative, fucked up, perverted, booby-filled, decapitation-riddled. Oh, it's great. It's great, and you should watch it right now. You should go out and watch it. Greg, what do you think about this movie?
Oh, I gotta follow up a 10. So I'm going lower. Not too much lower, but I'm going 8 stabs. It is very good. It meets the nudity quota and violence quota easily within the first 15 minutes. I feel like it has a tendency to drag a little bit. It's only an hour and a half movie, so that's perfect sweet spot. But I don't know. I got a little kind of I don't want to say bored with just the same thing happening over and over again. I think we kind of ran into a similar feel for me with the Majorettes, which not as good of a movie, obviously, but it just the same things just keep happening, and it gets a little long in the tooth for me. But
a little gap in the tooth for you.
Yeah. But I thought the main actress was fantastic. Gary Oldman's top performance for me as the baby voice. The violence and special effects for the stabbings and people just being torn apart were great. So eight stabs for me. Yeah. And I need to find Lady Blood and drink that down like a fine glass of cold blood. Eric, how many stabs are you giving it?
I'm going 10 stabs.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, I'm going all in. I'm a little bit of a gore fan. So yeah, I love the excessive blood, the dirty grittiness, all the savage, brutal kills. It looks beautiful on the Kino Blu-ray. I can't recommend it highly enough. I always rotate this I'm always thinking about this movie. It just keeps popping up for some reason in my head, in a very Gary Oldman-esque voice. Yeah, we should mention the original voice in the French. If you watch the French subtitled one, it's like this Star Wars alien squeaky voice, and it's actually the director. And I guess he probably put some sort of effect on his voice, but he's credited as Roger Placenta as the voice of the creature. I thought it was really ridiculous. It's fantastic. The lead actress is amazing and so fully committed. She carries the entire film all the way through. It's got that weird buddy road trip through France going on. It's great. Yeah, it's over the top. It's awesome inventive shots. I don't want you guys already talked about it. The arm dream sequence, the journey inside of her body, that floating underneath of her, all that disorientation. It's awesome. Yeah, love me some baby blood.
Hell yeah! What a great pick, dude. Thanks for bringing this to the table. I'm so glad we got to talk about this. That's 210. Have we had another movie with 210s?
I don't.
Radioactive Dreams.
I think Radioactive Dreams had two or three 10s, and Wicked had a 10.
Nice.
So we're finding some gold here.
Clearly.
On Stabby Stabby.
Oh man, Wicked was good. That was a fun movie.
Wicked, that's the ticket.
Well, if this movie
I love that Eric's just becoming our little singing boy.
I don't have a baby blood song, so sorry about that.
Well, if this movie crawls inside your head the way it crawled inside of Eric's uterus, then you should crawl inside of the hell house that is Instagram and follow us at StabbyPod, where our best friend Greg posts the next movie we're going to watch on, what is it, Wednesdays?
Every Wednesday. Yeah. Every Wednesday we'll let you know what we're watching next so you can watch it and not get it all spoiled for you by us. Yeah. So that's always a plus.
Otherwise, is there anything else going on? Anything else you guys want to say?
No. We got some. I think we got some good plans coming up in the next month or so. Maybe watching some interesting things. We'll figure it out. But
yeah,
no. Keep on keeping on with us. And
our new slogan.
Oh, yeah, I guess one last thing to say would be, if you've gotten this far, thanks for listening. If you don't mind leaving us a 5-star rating on iTunes, that'd be great. I hear that goes a long way. If you got friends or a family or people that you hate that you want to torture that are into horror movies or like horror movies, send them our jams. Tell them that we sent you. I don't know what that means, but yeah.
Yeah, join our sandwich club.
Yeah.
By rating five stars.
Oh, and that Patreon where you're going to cut off your ding dong, Greg. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
Well, that's to be decided.
Yeah, I'll get the URL up online later, but that's going to be important and messy. And otherwise, you know what we like to say around here.
Don't forget to stab your friends.